Decision Desk HQ has relaunched our 2024 elections forecasting model with the inclusion of Vice President Kamala Harris. Hey guys, my name is Ryan Gest, Elections Data Fellow here at DDHQ. Today I'm going to take you through an updated look at our projections for the 2024 general election, including the state of play on the presidential, Senate, and House maps. You can feel free to follow along or dive into the website yourself at elections2024.thehill.com/forecast. Now, our model currently predicts that Kamala Harris has a 55% chance of winning the presidency. Now, this means that if the 2024 presidential race were held 100 times, Harris would fend off former President Donald Trump in the race to 270 electoral votes on 55 occasions. That being said, it also means that Trump currently has a 45% chance of winning as well. I always like to use this analogy. Those are close to the same odds that the Kansas City Chiefs faced in the Super Bowl this year against the San Francisco 49ers. And in case you forgot, the Chiefs won. Now, of course, the headline here is that Harris is slightly favored to win the presidential race now, as the odds have almost exactly flipped from our final model run before President Joe Biden dropped out of the race. When we paused our forecast back in late July, it was Trump who had a 56% chance of securing a second non-consecutive term in the White House. So, what has changed? Well, most importantly to our model, the polling landscape has shifted significantly in favor of the vice president. According to the latest Decision Desk HQ in the Hill national poll average, Kamala Harris leads Donald Trump by 3.7% based on 134 polls. And as you can see here in the trend line, headed into that fateful first presidential debate night between Biden and Trump on June 27th, Harris trailed Trump by more than 6 percentage points. She has gained ever since. Now again, this top-line lead for Harris, 3.7%, is close to an exact flip from our Biden versus Trump polling average as well, which showed Trump leading Biden by 3.3% at the time of his withdrawal. Even more concerning at that time, though, for the president's re-election campaign and Democrats more broadly, were Biden's numbers across the key battlegrounds. Biden trailed Trump by almost 6 points in Arizona, 4 points in Georgia, 2.6% in Michigan, 5.8% in Nevada, and almost 5 points in North Carolina, as well as 4.5 points in Pennsylvania and 1.5 in Wisconsin. Had those numbers held up, Trump would have, of course, secured a decisive victory in the Electoral College. But today, with Kamala Harris officially introduced and nominated as the Democratic candidate last week, she not only leads Trump by a couple of points in the national average, but is also leading Trump now in Michigan by 2.5 percentage points based on a 16 poll average. She also leads him in North Carolina by just over a point, and in both Pennsylvania, again 1.1% here, and in Wisconsin, 3.3%. She does currently still trail the former president in Arizona, but now by just 0.1 of a percentage point, and in Georgia by less than 3 points, as well as Nevada here by a point. So each of our averages here have effectively shifted 4 to 6 points towards Harris since Biden dropped out. And part of the explanation for that trend is simple. Kamala Harris is more popular than Joe Biden. According to our candidate favorability ratings, Harris has a positive net favorability rating of 4.2%, with 49.8% of Americans, nearly half the country, holding a favorable opinion of her, compared to 45.6% unfavorable. Comparatively speaking, Biden continues to pull well below water with a negative 7.4% favorability at 50.6% unfavorable and 43.2% favorable. These numbers look similar to Donald Trump, who currently sees himself as less popular actually than both Harris and Biden, at negative 7.7% on net, 51.5% unfavorable, and 43.8% favorable. Now, the 2024 Decision Desk HQ forecast does account for a multitude of factors beyond just polling, including fundamental factors like campaign finances, economic indicators, and a whole lot more, which you are totally free to read about on our public methodology statement available on the websites. As per our latest model run, though, Kamala Harris is favored in enough states to win 241 electoral votes, ahead of Donald Trump's 219. Neither candidate is currently forecasted to win the necessary 270 electoral votes, as there are 78 electoral votes spread out across 6 toss-up states, wherein neither Harris nor Trump have a better than 65% chance of winning. These are Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. The outcome in these 6 toss-ups will in all likelihood decide who reaches that magic number, 270 electoral votes. Now, our first model relaunch does project that Trump is ever so slightly favored in Arizona with a 51% chance of winning, Georgia with a 65% chance, and North Carolina at 64%. Harris, on the other hand, holds a slight edge in Pennsylvania, 53%, Wisconsin, 58%, and then Nevada, 60%. There are 10 more states not considered to be safe for either party, with their chances of winning between 65 and 95% in either direction. Most of these secondary battleground states favor Harris. These include Colorado, New Mexico, Minnesota, Virginia, New Hampshire, and Maine, all as likely Democrats, and then Michigan as leaning Democrats, though it does currently teeter on the edge of toss-up with a 67% chance of winning for Harris. Trump, meanwhile, is favored to hold on to Ohio and Texas, both as likely Republican, and then Florida as leaning Republican. Scrolling down here, you can see that Harris has been slightly favored since we began running simulations for our forecast, with her chance of winning yet to exceed 55%. Our current average electoral college projection has Harris at 276 electoral votes to Trump's 262. This means that across the millions and millions of simulations that we run every day, Harris wins 276 electoral votes on average. And of course, given that we do run more than 14 million simulations each day, there are all kinds of different scenarios in which both Harris and Trump do reach 270 electoral votes. There is also a 0.4% chance of an electoral vote tie at 269 to 269 in the Electoral College. So that wraps up our presidential forecast. Let's head to the Senate now, where Republicans have a 67% chance of flipping control of the upper chamber, according to our latest model updates. That is down 10% from when we paused our previous model. This shift can primarily be attributed to the correlated effects of improving presidential odds for the Democratic Party. Still, though, like the last Class 1 Senate cycle in 2018, Republicans are considered to have a fundamental advantage, as Democrats are defending 23 of the 33 seats, including 9 of the 11 most competitive races. Among these, 3 are in states that Donald Trump won in both 2016 and 2020: Montana, Ohio, and West Virginia, while there are no Republican-held seats in states that Joe Biden won in the 2020 election. And in the last 2 Senate election cycles during presidential years, 2016 and 2020, only 1 senator was elected in a state that the opposing presidential nominee won. So the fundamental advantage clearly lies with the Republican Party. The ball is in their court, you might say. However, one trend we've been observing in every state that has both a competitive presidential and Senate contest is that Democratic Senate candidates were consistently outperforming Biden in the polls, and this trend has continued with Harris. It's this phenomenon that has managed to keep the Democrats within striking distance, especially if Harris does manage to win the presidential race, and thereby grant Tim Walz her previous role as the tie-breaking vote as vice president. Currently, Republicans are projected to win 51 seats compared to the Democrats' 48, with just one race currently categorized as a toss-up, Ohio. Democrats, meanwhile, are favored to win the competitive contests in Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Virginia, while Republicans hold an edge in Montana, Missouri, Texas, and Florida. Now, for the Democrats to maintain their slim majority, they must not only win all of the competitive states in which they are currently favored, but also secure a victory in Ohio, as well as one additional Republican-leaning states, and that's all just to reach 50 seats, which again would only translate into a majority should Kamala Harris defeat Donald Trump. Scrolling down here, our current average seat projection places Republicans at 52 over Democrats' 48. That has remained unchanged since our previous model was paused. Again, we run millions of simulations each day, and so of course there are scenarios in which Democrats do win more than 50 seats. But as is made obvious by these graphs here, there are far more scenarios in which Republicans accomplish that feat. Our model also currently puts a 14.7% chance on there being a split 50-50 outcome here in the upper chamber. Let's head to the House now. Our model currently predicts that Republicans have a 56% chance of winning the House, down 5 points from our previous model, as again, the correlations between outcomes across the presidential and congressional races have put Democrats in a more favorable position than 1 month ago. Our forecast gives Republicans an edge in 215 seats over Democrats' 210, with 10 races labeled as toss-up. Now, those 10 toss-ups, plus the 14 races labeled either as lean Democrat or lean Republican, are likely to determine the power and ultimate size of either party's potential majority post-November. And of course, we should also expect a few of our nearly 50 likely Democrat and likely Republican seats to surprise us come November, as that always seems to be the case. Scrolling down here, our average seat projection does tack Republicans at 219 to Democrats' 216, which does suggest that Republicans currently stand to lose seats while maintaining one of the slimmest House majorities in recent memory. That about does it, though, for this overview of our relaunched model. Again, feel free to dive into the website yourself at elections2024.thehill.com/forecast. Make sure to bookmark it as we do update it daily. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click that like button down below if you did indeed like it, and subscribe down below as well if you haven't already. Check out more content from our channel here, and we'll catch you next time.